Meet the new chief, same as the present chief. In the heart of the lakes where the Keego Harbor City Council has officially removed the interim tag from Chief Robert Barnes, and he is now the full-time chief of police in the city of Keego Harbor. He joins us now on the Splash Live to celebrate and talk about his continuation of the current role he has in the heart of the lakes. Chief, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Yeah, glad to have you on. 22 years and counting with the Keego Harbor Police Department before you got the interim chief of police position. A little bit of training went into the last several months beyond that, and now you're the full-time chief. But take us through that moment recently where you were ultimately appointed the full-time chief in what was a packed house, standing room only at Keego Harbor City Hall.
Yeah, the support was incredible. It was very, very humbling. The city's been good to me, city manager and the city council, and it was I always have to pinch yourself a couple times, but yeah, it was great that the interim part now is behind me, so now I can get out there a little bit more, and I had some time to get my ducks in a row, so they just hitting the ground running.
Take us through a little bit of the nuance of it. You mentioned now you can kind of get out there a little bit more as the full-time chief versus during the interim period. What maybe are some of those subtle differences that probably aren't going to get noticed by people every day in Keego Harbor, but definitely affected your job in the past several months?
Well, I'm going to be, what's the nuances are going to be that I'm going to be able to be a little more active on our social media, on the Keego Harbor Police Facebook page, and I'm going to get out and the weather's getting nicer. I'll be able to be out in my official capacity, and I'm still going to be doing patrols and by all intents and purposes, I'm still going to be a working chief. So the community's pretty familiar with me. So. I've got to know a lot of these people, so a lot of the residents, so I'll be out there more.
A lot of the warm weather days ahead were some official trips, perhaps, to the Dairy Queen on Orchard Lake Road in Keego Harbor. A good excuse to get out there and have a nice treat in the middle of your hard work day. Chief Robert Barnes is with us from the Keego Harbor Police Department on today's edition of the Splash Live. The City Council recently removing the interim tag and naming him the official full-time chief of the Keego Harbor Police Department. And it's at a special time, too, Chief, as we're celebrating a big anniversary in Keego Harbor, 70 years as a city. So for you, what does that add to this moment for you to now, at this anniversary time where we're celebrating Keego as the incredible community that it is, to now be one of their representatives as their chief of police?
Always going to be added pressure now. But you know what? How cool is it that we got some new part-time officers that I brought on, and we have a new chief, and we have an anniversary. Planets are kind of aligning. It's going to be a fun summer.
That indeed, and you had such great support at the city council meeting where that full-time appointment officially happened. We had some video up there. We'll continue to play that throughout our conversation of you taking the official oath of office, having the official chief of police badge pinned onto you as well. But you had a lot of people that also showed up to talk about their experience working with you over the years, from both your time at Keego Harbor and previously in your law enforcement career. And that really goes to the crux of what makes you do your job so effectively. You build relationships really well. How important is that to you, and how do you shape your focus into that side of things on top of everything that you have to do from the law enforcement standpoint?
Building relationships is everything. I really enjoy when I get to have contacts with people. I mean, sometimes they're not very happy with you, but I end up developing relationships with them a little later as we talk more. But even with the officers, every contact is important. And so it does build relationships departmental wise too.
Chief Robert Barnes is with us from the Keego Harbor Police Department. They're newly named full-time Chief of Police as we celebrate 70 years of Keego Harbor at the time that we are having this conversation with the newly appointed full-time chief from their police department. Chief, building those relationships really important, but also having that, as you said, that additional staff that's going to be able to provide even more support. How big of a boost is that to your police department, where you're operating in a relatively small city from a size standpoint, but there is a lot of that nuance. You want to know the people, and it's important that they have a lot of that support from their local law enforcement.
Yeah, and getting those two part-time officers really helped morale as well, because throughout the spring and last summer we were short, and I was even working the road on overtime. Officers would be coming in at 3 a.m. Some would be doing doubles, 12-hour shifts, and working on our weekends off. So, it gets drags on you after a while. So getting that relief was, kind of turned on the lights and made everything brighter in Keego. So, and there were these two part-timers that came on, as well as a new full-timer who graduated from the academy, went through on a grant for Keego. So everything kind of fell into place all at the right time, and I was able to come into this position at the right time. I think the timing was everything on this.
And you're taking over for, of course, Chief John Fitzgerald, the last full-time chief. You've been in his role as the interim chief for several months at this point, but you can maintain those good relationships with Chief Fitzgerald and with his predecessor in Chief Hurst. What advice have they given you now as you go into this role full-time in that greater capacity that you sort of talked about earlier on, and take over this larger role in a city that you've grown to learn and love over the years?
Well, the advice they gave you is they're absolutely correct. It is all the dynamics change now. I mean, it's a lot more responsibility. It's constant learning, and you got to have a lot of patience. You've got to have patience anyway for this job, but even more so, it's exciting and a little nerve-wracking sometimes, because you want to do everything right, and there's not a lot of room for errors. And I don't have a command structure, so
appears we're having a brief technical difficulty with Chief Barnes. There we go. Now we have you. We had just a brief freeze there with you. We have you now just fine, Chief. Please continue.
So yeah, I mean, that's just about it. They said they told me that I'm going to be under the spotlight a little bit more, and I'm going to have to make decisions, do them quickly, and make them right. You got to be right decisions.
Well, for many years, people have known you as Detective Barnes or simply as Bobby. Now they're going to be calling you Chief, but it's the same Bobby Barnes we've known and loved in Keego Harbor for all these years.
Still,
Chief,
still weird to hear that.
Yeah, you know what? It's going to be something that grows on. For a while, I kept calling you Detective Barnes, even as we had our internal conversations over here at Civic Center TV. So those new titles, they always get people. Yes. But you know what? It's a welcome time and a big change in Keego Harbor for the better and the future. Chief, before we let you go, any lasting message to your city and to the community as you now take on this role in a full-time and official, no longer interim capacity?
Yeah, hey, I intend on being, tell the residents, I intend on being a little more transparent with some of the incidents we have here in Keego. And of course, always, if you see something, say something. But also, I would encourage them in some of these instances or complaints or whatever, to reach out to the department direct. I see a lot of speculation on social media, and I think myself, God, I wish, because I can't really respond to social media directly on some incidents and whatnot, but I kind of, gripe and say, God, I wish they would just come in and ask us direct. I mean, we can eliminate a lot of the speculation. So I would ask that, there is going to be, and tell them that there is going to be more transparency, and ask that don't be afraid to come on in and talk to me direct. My door is open.
Plenty of friendly people to talk to at the Keego Harbor Police Department all throughout the week. Over at Keego Harbor City Hall, it's on Beachmont in Keego, just off of Cass Lake or Orchard Lake Roads, over by the old Roosevelt School, and Gino's just down the road from it as well. Chief, thank you so much for your time, and congratulations once again.
Thanks again. Have a great morning.